Welcome to Equisamaras, As the Barn Turns. Something we've all been waiting for that, well, no one really asked for, but we all know we need. A podcast that dives into the inner workings of both the professional and amateur horse world, for horse people and anyone else to enjoy. If you're new to the podcast, firstly, welcome to the show. A few things to note: we hardly do any editing. What you see, what you hear, is what you get. Mostly because we're not a professionally backed entertainment stream. And truth be told, authenticity is more our style. Take it or leave it, there's nothing fake here. Just real people with real experiences and real education to share. At times, there will be creative verbiage used, but to be honest, I personally don't trust a horse person that doesn't swear from time to time. And I'm not interested in censoring our guests. Now, that's not to say there aren't horse people and equine professionals out there who do not use colorful words, and God love them. But if colorful words thrown in to amplify or intensify a point from time to time are not your cup of tea, well, then this just might not be the podcast for you. But for the rest of us, I think this is where I tell you to hit the subscribe button. So please go ahead and do that. And please know that all proceeds earned on this podcast go towards equine organizations that place education above all else. Organizations such as EACPA College Preparatory Academy and their partnering educational professional horse parks. So without further ado, mount up and enjoy the ride. On today's episode, we're talking about the American rodeo. America's rodeo's roots lie in the Spanish tradition of cattle roundups and the skills of the vaqueros of the 1700s. These skills were further developed by American cowboys in the 19th century, who began organizing informal competitions and exhibitions, often ranch versus ranch events, or at the end of long cattle drives, as a way to allow the cowboys a little bit of fun and a chance to blow off some steam after months on the trail in the very dangerous wilderness of the American West. The practice of cowboying and cowboy competitions and demonstrating their skills gradually transitioned from work to formalized entertainment, with the first major rodeo held in 1882 by William F. Cody, or how most of America knows him by the name of Buffalo Bill. The concept of the American rodeo queen emerged in the early 20th century, with the first community-sponsored queen appearing at the 1910 Pendleton Roundup in Oregon. These early rodeo queens were initially chosen for their ability to promote the rodeo and the town's Western heritage. The Pendleton Roundup first queen, I'm not making this up, was named Bertha Anger, who won her title by selling the most tickets to the rodeo. Now, with that selling or more of an intimidation factor, we may never know. Now, moving forward, the Penn Valley Rodeo in Penn Valley, California, has a long history, starting in 1956, when a group of local ranchers organized a one-day event to help fund the town's volunteer fire department. And the event became an annual tradition, without the need of Big Bertha Anger's influence. Now, I can assure you, we do not have Big Bertha on with us here today, but we do have the 2024 Junior Miss Penn Valley Rodeo Queen, the lovely Miss Cheyenne Barker, who is a two-time rodeo queen and an incoming senior at Nevada Union High School. Hi, Cheyenne. How are you today?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much for joining us today on this amazingly beautiful spring day.
Yeah, thank you.
I can't believe the sun is out, and I will say we're outdoors today. We do travel a little bit and go to different locations, and so we've got some of our sweet little donkeys out here that might be making an appearance, and our sweet little orange barn cat that could jump on my lap at any time. So, it's all part of the party. So.
Perfect.
I wanted to start with our first question for you, and that is, can you tell me a little bit about your first introduction to horses?
Yes. So, my first introduction to horses was when I was very young. I fell in love with the Flicka movie, and I've loved horses ever since. And then I also was always obsessed with the ponies from the horses. Just they I just fell in love with them.
When when did you discover your superpower? I think you and I have talked a little bit about this, and some people call it the horse bug, right? But I like to refer to it as a superpower that we all have. And so, can you tell us a little bit about when you first, recognized that you had it?
When I first recognized that I had my superpower was when I started doing lessons from a friend down in Arizona. And she taught me how to ride a horse. She taught me how to take care of them and really gave me the basic necessities that like everyone should be able to have and get to experience. And I just took forth with that and I found so much joy, whether it was picking up a horse's hoof or just brushing the tiniest speck of dirt off their body.
I love hearing that. So many, I think kids today think of the barn as just they show up, they hop on, they ride, they go home. And it is so much more than that. So I love hearing that.
Yeah.
So that sounds like that's a little bit, of how your equine journey, got started and how you went along. What disciplines did you ride and which disciplines were you more gravitated to?
So, when I first started in Arizona, um, I was naturally drawn to Western because that's what my friend rode. So I rode that as well. Um, And at the time, I had no idea whether there was a Western or an English way of writing. So I naturally gravitated Western when I really decided to get into writing. Um, I haven't really written English, but if the opportunity presented itself, I would be more than happy to learn. Um, but
Oh, we're gonna have
I
you at the
more
barn then. Diane, we're gonna bring you out to the barn. We're gonna bring you out to the
okay.
barn. We're gonna get you in an English saddle. We're gonna make a day of it.
Yes, we should definitely.
You can teach me Western, and you can watch me. Not sure what I'm gonna do, and then I'll teach you English.
Okay, sounds like a deal.
As you were growing in your riding and those different experiences that you were having, what equine education was offered to you? I mean, was it more the school of hard knocks? Was it, did you have, it sounds like you had a friend of yours, but do you have a specific trainer, a professional that you gravitated to that really kind of took your experience from being around them and understanding horsemanship and then actually really elevating that into riding?
Yeah, so when I would occasionally go to Arizona to visit my dad, but when I was back home in California, I did not have a barn to go to. So when I participated in one of Alyssa Mayo's um, kids camps, I naturally gravitated towards her and I saw the operation she was um, doing, and I fell in love with it. I saw so many horses and I just fell in love with the now magical place that I call home, for my horse and myself. Um, but I naturally gravitated towards her, and it was amazing.
What so can you, just to kind of elaborate on that, can you tell me a little bit about what aspects drew you to her, and then what actual, like, what education did you learn from her in terms of, in terms of like an actual academia side of horses?
Yes. So I learned the anatomy. So I, in my regular school, I have never learned of horses. I never learned their anatomy. I never learned their physiology. I never got to learn that from my school. When I met Alyssa, she taught me the parts of the horse, and she taught me what a hoof was. She taught me what the barrel of a horse was. But unfortunately, my school that I go to now um, doesn't really teach me that.
Doesn't have that, educational base. So it's awesome that you were able to find a trainer that that you gravitated to personality wise, who could teach you riding, but then also was able to give you that educational aspect that is missing in so many riders.
Yes.
So let's switch gears then. Let's go into Rodeo Queen. So what made you consider running for Rodeo Queen your first time, going from a horsey, starstruck little girl to now a Rodeo Queen?
Yeah. So it's actually, I kind of find it a funny story. Um,
Oh, good.
I
I love
I saw a ad on Facebook that my mom had sent me, and she was like, "Wouldn't it be cool if you ran for a rodeo queen?" Because I was towards that stage in horses where I wanted to go further and I wanted to learn more, and I loved the sport of rodeo. So we found that ad, and she was like, "What if you became a rodeo queen?" And I said, "Let's do it." And one thing led to another, and here we are.
How old were you in that ad when your mom sent you that ad?
I would say I was a freshman in high school, so I would say I was around 14.
So that dream of yours kind of emerged from your mom sending you a potential opportunity, and it just kind of sparked, it sounds like.
Yes, it did.
That's awesome. So how did you find out then, once got that opportunity from your mom as a potential opportunity, and said, yes, let's go for it? What path did you find that you needed to, ride down to in order to achieve this dream?
So I had to attend the orientation that they were having, and I was running for the 2023 Junior Miss Gold Country Pro Rodeo Queen at the time. And they gave me a packet to look at and really have me focus down and study what I needed to study. And I am so thankful for my coordinator that year, because it was my first year. And it was very overwhelming because there are a lot of things to learn, but the way that every coordinator has it set up is to benefit you and to benefit you going probably further if you would have liked.
That's awesome. It's awesome that you, sounds like you had a coordinator, or almost a mentor there to kind of help guide you down this path.
Yes.
Do you feel comfortable naming that person?
Yes, her name's Mariah Bird.
Awesome. Awesome. Can you explain a little bit about the different titles, the structure? If you win one, do you go on to another competition? Are there competitions leading up to the rodeo? How does that all come together?
Yeah, it is definitely, there are thousands of rodeo queens out there, especially in California. So we rodeo queens, yes, we're all rodeo queens, but some of us are split up into the CCPRA and PRCA rodeo groups.
So when you go down this road, and you had your mentor with you, were you instructed on any advice on how to answer any of those questions or how to perform?
Yes. So when we are now in the midst of competing for a title, they give us questions that we can expect in interviews, personal interviews, and on stage interviews, as well as horse interviews. So they will give us questions that we can study, and they're usually the questions that then have answers to them, and we study them throughout the weeks that we are now running for the title.
Okay. So what steps do you need to take then in order to actually qualify? I mean, does everybody qualify, or are there, as you go through this process, if you don't answer a question necessarily correctly, do you not qualify to continue on? How does that go?
So everyone gets a chance to qualify. No specific person needs the right attributes to qualify. They automatically, if you go to an orientation, like just yourself and showing up and seeing like if you actually would like to be a part of the rodeo queen, um, just rodeo queens in general, they are open arms, definitely.
Well, it's obviously much more than, a beauty pageant, right? It's certainly not that, although all of you
Yes.
girls are beautiful. It sounds to me, though, that there's a lot of written questions. Is there any writing that's necessary? Any competitions that you need to go to and participate in from a writing standpoint?
So the only thing you really have to have is riding experience, because when you run for a rodeo queen, they will give you a horsemanship pattern, which is a reining pattern. And depending if you're running for junior miss to young miss, those patterns can range, and your coordinator will give you those patterns so you can practice. But the only thing you really need is just riding experience and knowing how to control your horse.
Okay. Now, do you need to have your own horse, or is it possible to borrow someone's horse, or do they provide horses for young ladies that may not have their own?
Yes. So in some situations, like our young misses and junior misses may not have a horse. They are more than welcome to ask someone to trailer them a horse. Like I've had my horse be hurt before, and I asked one of my friends if she could bring me a horse that she trusted me with, and she did just that, and I got to ride one of her amazing horses. So there are opportunities out there for young girls to be able to ride a horse in the rodeo, but not theirs.
And is that almost like kind of a catch ride situation where you haven't maybe ridden that horse before, but it shows up and you're going to give it your best shot? Is it something like that? Or do you have a chance to practice with that horse beforehand? Or,
So in the rodeo aspect, yes, we do have to catch ride a horse. Like, let's say you were a state queen, like Miss California or Miss Arizona, you can't always bring your horse to places. So that is a catch ride situation where they would just have to jump on a horse, warm that horse up, and kind of hope for the best. And those are actually what those ladies are trained to do as well. There is a draw horse attribute of the competition, so the girls can try to ride a different horse than their own. So they do get that different horse experience.
oh, that's great. That's great. So, what then is your favorite rodeo event? Because mine personally is the clowns. I love the clowns. I love the clowns running around trying to keep the bull off of everybody. That's my favorite one. But what can you tell me what yours is?
My favorite event, I would say, would have to be the barrel racing. But I may have to be a little biased because I am a barrel racer myself on my free time. So just the energy these ladies bring with their animal to run a simple cloverleaf pattern that could range in 15 seconds, I find astonishing and I find so amazing that these ladies ride with their horses and they bond with them and they really connect to get to that speed. And I just find it incredible.
Oh, that's awesome. I always said, if I had been born on the other side of the fence, I would have gone into barrel racing. But it was always show jumping for me, and much like yourself, that's just what was around. We didn't have access at that time to any Western riding, actually, where I grew up. But definitely, if I was on the other side of the fence, I would definitely have gone that route myself.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about rough stock or events versus timed events, and how do you win each?
So the difference between rough stock and timed events are rough stock ranges from saddle bronc to bareback bronc and then bull riding. And those rough stock events, they have to stay on an animal for 8 seconds and they can earn points by like just staying on the animal for 8 seconds and how the animal bucks. So the animal can buck a certain height and they can get points for that for riding through that. But the main goal is to stay on for 8 seconds. And then there is the timed events like barrel racing, tie down roping, steer wrestling. For barrel racing, it's whoever can cross the timer the fastest. So the ladies will run into the arena and there will be a timer set up a couple, I would say, inches from the barrels, and they will run the barrel pattern. And then as they're coming back, known as home, the timer will clock their time. For steer wrestling, it is for when they release the calf. Then the steer wrestler has to catch the calf and have him and wrangle him by his horns and get him down to the ground. That then the flagger puts his flag down to stop the timer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I've ridden some amazing 3-year-olds. I think when I was in my 20s, I think I would have definitely gone a more rough stock. I could see myself going that way. Just, for fun. Why not?
Yeah.
Nowadays, not so much. Not so much. Are there any champions that have stuck out to you? And if so, can you tell me a little bit about who and why?
Yeah. So a world champion, I can say, because she's won the NFR, is Haley Kinsel. And
We
her
have a
horse.
visitor. Sorry, we have a visitor. Sorry. This is Tiggy. Tiggy's visiting.
Oh.
Sorry about that. So, okay, bye-bye. We'll see how long this lasts. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Haley Kinsel really stuck out to me. And she stuck out to me because of the way she treats her horse and the way that if she has a bad run, she still pets her horse as she's coming out of to the arena, just telling her horse that she's done a good job. And just her sportsmanship has always stuck out to me too, but through just the years that I've watched her. And it's just one of the amazing things that I've seen, and she really sticks out to me as a rider.
Can you tell us the name of someone in California who's competed at the NFR this last November in Las Vegas? Somebody that you that caught your eye, or somebody that you look up to?
Yeah, so I will say this year we had Lefty Holman compete at the NFR this year, and he is a saddle bronc rider. And I've seen him compete at many different rodeos, and It's insane. Always, I find the rough stock events so incredible because how could you stay on for 8 seconds at least, maybe sometimes longer as the pickup men try to pick them up? Um, it's I find it so wild and very intriguing to watch them ride.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty intense. Like I said, in my 20s I felt I was invincible. I could do anything. Now I'm like, yeah, that was not true. That's not doing anything. I don't want any of that. I will watch it. Fantastic. Um so you talked about some of the catch guys that grab the guys off or gals. There are bull riding gals now and saddle bronc riding gals, which I think is pretty awesome. Um, but can you tell me a little bit about the specialty acts as part of the rodeos? The clowns, like I talked about, I love them, but the mutton busting, the games that include the audience members, like, or even this one. Have you seen the whole like catch the bull game they did at a Texas rodeo a couple years ago, or people were just like flying all over the place because the bull was just mowing them down? I'm like, that you cannot do that in California. Everybody's getting sued. you know, or even closer to home, the Auburn pro rodeo a couple years ago. Did you hear about the announcer gal who was the woman that was down in the arena who got like clocked in the head by Freedom
Yes.
as it came raining down from the sky? And what I mean by that is a diver that landed on top of her and completely blew her out of the water. I'm pretty sure that was all over TikTok at one point. Or even, I've gone to a couple rodeos and the motocross that's now being implemented in some of these rodeos. I mean, personally, the skydiving, great, mutton busting for the kids, fine. I love the clowns. I'm not convinced on the motocross personally. I'm not sure that really, that's just such a steer away from the tradition of rodeo and the purpose of it, that I'm not convinced it's the best addition, but that's my personal opinion. So can you tell me a little bit about your opinion on some of the specialty acts?
I love every specialty act that comes to every single rodeo because I get to see different people from different walks of life. I've met Charlie Too Tall, who is a rodeo clown. I've met Dalton that performs at Auburn, and I'm pretty sure he will be at Penn Valley's rodeo this year. This year, one of the specialty acts at Auburn, Gold Country Pro Rodeo, they had a trick rider and trick roper. She was both, and her name was Spencer.
I like
And
that. Yeah.
it was very amazing to watch, from her cracking bull whips to her just doing all kinds of trick riding around the arena. I also got to help her out one of the nights by holding one of her horse's jigs. And it was definitely something that I found so amazing. Um, just because I get to see how these performers get ready and I can see them like entertain the crowd and the crowd goes wild, and I just find it so amazing.
Yeah, it is definitely an entertainment aspect to the rodeo. I loved seeing the trick riding. I thought that was very cool. There's a lot of skill that goes into that, so that was really nice to see. Now we're going to totally switch gears, and I'm going to ask you a little bit of a we very serious questions, and now I want to kind of go into some more fun questions to get to know you a little bit better. What is your go-to cowgirl dance move when you're not at the rodeo?
Oh, that's a hard one because after a long day of rodeo, I definitely like to go to the dance floor and bust a couple of moves. I would say I like to hit the Cabbage Patch sometimes. I like to hit the
Okay.
shopping
Okay.
carts sometimes as well too. Gotta grab the groceries.
I'm the generation of like the moonwalk, so I'm way out of the, the slang that you guys use today. I am so far past that, but I am very interested in seeing the uh what did you call it? The grocery
The
push.
shopping
What is that?
cart.
The grocery walk? Shopping cart. Yes, I would love to see that sometime. That sounds amazing. That sounds like that's right up this mother's alley. I'm pretty sure I could nail that. Um what information, or sorry, what is now, let me go on to now a little bit of a more fun question as well. Do you think that a cowboy hat counts as a flotation device? I
Oh
mean, a little upside
man.
down,
Say
gold fish on the side.
definitely. If you got some really tough water protectant on your hat and you just wanted to go for a swim and you need something to hold your snacks while at the lake, I would say definitely it counts as a flotation device.
Okay, now I have a really important question for you. And this is something for somebody like me who has never rodeoed and but also likes to just kind of wander around rodeos and might accidentally find myself in the middle of the ring. What is the best way to convince a bull that he shouldn't eat you? I'm thinking wearing red isn't it. Wearing red is not it. So is there another way to convince that bull that you are not tasty? Not at all.
Um, I would say it has to depend on the bull because there are definitely bulls out there that are going to get you whether you let them or not. And then there's some that really just like to do their job and then go back sleeping in the back. So I would say the best way to have a bull not eat you is get out of the arena as fast as you can. I think that would be the best
Fair enough.
way.
Fair enough. Fair enough. um so let's now go on to some more serious questions, and I think this is important for any young lady out there who might have aspirations of becoming a rodeo queen someday. And what information do you think that every rodeo queen must know before they compete? What do they have to really understand and have a really good concept of before they start competing?
I would have to say that some of the most important things that a young lady can know going into rodeo queening is how to really advocate for your horse and really advocate for yourself. Because going into rodeo, there are cowboys and cowgirls out there that may not see you in the warm up pen and might run into you and your horse, and you really have to take it with a grain of salt because you really have to take a deep breath and remember that these people are here to win money and you're here to just help with sponsor flags and just really help with your rodeo and getting your rodeo's name out there. um I would say definitely being an advocate for yourself, standing up for what you think is right, especially in a tough situation. Um, and standing up for your horse as well, whether your horse isn't comfortable carrying a sponsor flag, make sure that whoever gives you a sponsor flag knows that and you tell them to hand it off to another young lady that would be more than happy to carry it. Um, or whether it's helping push cattle. Maybe your horse isn't very cowy and you don't know how to push cattle. You can always say, maybe let the next young lady do it as well.
I think that you made a really good point, and that is standing up for yourself and standing behind what's right. I think that that is a virtue and a part of one's character that even adults don't have. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that having young ladies understand that it's very important to stand up for yourself and to say no when you know it's not okay. And having that confidence to do that, and knowing that there may be people that disagree with you, but you still have that confidence because you're willing to say, nope, this isn't true, this isn't right, and I'm standing up for myself and I'm standing up for my horse, is an incredible virtue that, to be honest, I wish more adults had. So it's amazing to hear young ladies having that. We all know that. I mean, that's true. Um, but I think it's an amazing virtue that is so important, and learning that young will help you later on in life, not just necessarily go along with the crowd, but having that confidence, to stand up for what's right, and that's not always easy to do.
Yes.
Who do you honestly think has the most important job in the arena? The judge, the announcer, or the stock contractor?
I would have to say all of them are equally as important. From the stock contractor bringing in the animals to even provide the rodeo with animals for these contestants to compete, to the rodeo announcer who has to keep an eye on what's going on and really educate the crowd on what's going on as well, because if you just sit there and watch, you won't know the names of the events, you won't know the rodeo clown's name in the arena, and the announcers really show you that, like, they're being advocates for rodeo as well, educating the crowd on what's happening in the arena. And then you have the judge who is sitting there, and either they're clocking your time or they're watching the rough stock, or I just say that all of them are equally as important because no rodeo would be the same without one.
Yeah. I think I would take that even a step further. And I would say, because you're answering these questions so beautifully, um, I would say the rodeo clowns, for me personally. And I think it's important to note that, they're labeled as rodeo clowns. So people who may not have any understanding of rodeos or experienced them or ever seen one, I don't think they understand the importance of them. I mean, they keep people alive, to
Yes.
be able to interfere with that bull, to take the attention away from the rider, especially if the rider's been injured or whatnot. I mean, that to me personally feels like, they're called rodeo clowns, but like, I mean, it doesn't do them even a little bit of justice for what, important of a role they play.
Yeah, I 100% agree. The rodeo clowns keep the crowd interested and invested in the arena. From the barrel that they try to hide in that they think will save them, from the just their act probably entertaining the crowd in the crowd, from dancing on the sidelines, from getting up on the gate, from saying hi to people, and then just, and like you said, if a bullfighter that's there to distract the bull gets hurt, or the bull rider himself is there to get hurt, is or if he gets hurt, he can distract the bull as well, trying to grab the bull's attention to pull away from what could be a danger in the arena.
Yeah, they really wear many different hats. The entertaining aspect is fun, and engaging the crowd is fun. But their role really is a very serious role and a very important role. And that is protecting, everybody in the ring. I don't know if you've seen this on, you probably have. If I've seen it, I'm sure you have. I don't know. It's one of those social media sites that I don't spend a lot of time on, but was it on TikTok or something? I don't know. I don't even go on TikTok. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But it was these rodeo clowns who were sitting at a table playing poker, and they let a bull in the ring. And then they had to like play like, musical chair poker. And it was just like the bull would just like, not just run right to the table and knock the table up. And I was just like, what are these guys doing?
Yeah.
So it is one of those things where it's it's an entertainment aspect, but it's also a very serious and very dangerous aspect as well.
Definitely.
Now we talked about the roles of the rodeo guys and excuse me, of the rodeo clowns and of the judges and the stock contractors. What are the roles of the queens? I mean, we talked a little bit about supporting your local rodeo or supporting the rodeo, but what are your roles outside of that specific day at that event? Because it's not just I'm the rodeo queen of the day. I mean, you're the queen for the entire year. So what are your roles after that?
Yeah. So, us rodeo queens, we're advocates for rodeo. We tell people who may not know what the cinch is on a saddle that keeps the saddle from falling over. People may not know what even a bull is, and we would have to show them. And we really just
Oh, that
educate
could
the
get exciting.
public. we,
Hey, be careful how you do that.
yeah. Um, we just make sure we're advocates for rodeo and we really educate the public. And then we also go to events like I'm going to a local hoedown on Friday for the school for Ready Springs, and I'll be just educating people about the rodeo, but not only educating them, um, getting the word out that our rodeo's coming up soon. And we also just try to make each other, we really want to just put the image out there that rodeo's not a bad sport. It is much more than that. It's a family.
Can you tell us a little bit about the day that your name was announced? Um, how you were feeling before, during, and then obviously after.
Yeah, so when my name was first announced over the arena speakers, I felt a rush of excitement. It was amazing waving to the crowd and them waving back and just cheering as I waved by, knowing that this was my year and I got to go to many rodeos that said my name for the first time. And it was amazing because my name wasn't just my name anymore, it was a name with a title. And representing the ones that had held it before me and representing an organization that is a family and stands up for one another. It gave me joy hearing just the crowd roar as I passed by. And after, it was just a rush of excitement and just knowing it was real.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. How has your life changed after winning? I mean, not only just your first title, you've won two now.
Yes.
How has your life changed?
My life, um, it definitely has changed because a lot more people know me and they see me and they're like, "Oh, you're a rodeo queen." And I nod my head and say, "Yes, I am." Um, but at the end of the day, I'm still me and I still go to high school and I'm still just participating in everything I can. Um, I just things do have changed, but not in a drastic way, other than really little girls looking up to me and seeing the sparkle in their eye and like seeing me for what I've done, which is very interesting to see and it's incredible to watch because I watch these little girls eyes light up as they see me, and I find it so cool because I was once that little girl that looked up to the girl running into the arena, and I just find it amazing. that I've now become a role model for these little girls.
I think that's amazing too that you mentioned that you're just the same person you always were. You know, it hasn't changed you in that aspect. And I think that, you know, being that genuine is such an important part of being a role model for young ladies, because it's very easy to let the ego, right, take over and oh, I'm this and I'm that now, but you're not. You're the same person you always have been. You just have an accomplishment now, which is should be acknowledged. But you know, it certainly doesn't make anybody a god because they've accomplished something. So for you to still be able to um, uh, you know, show these young ladies that you're still the same person, um, and uh, and that they too are just as special as being who they are, I think is really important.
Yeah.
Sponsorships. Did you acquire any sponsorships as you went along this journey? I mean, I can imagine, you know, having a horse and wanting to, you know, pursue this. It still costs money. There's entry fees and time and things like that. So, were you given any sponsorships along the way, or are you currently looking for any?
I when I first became a rodeo queen, as I gained the title, the sponsors from the rodeo and the rodeo queens in general kind of fell onto me as well. So I had Stable Mix, I had Echo Valley, and I was now not just representing a rodeo, I was representing people from all over. So I would say I didn't have as many sponsorships personally, but through the rodeo and through rodeo queening, I have gained them personally and through the rodeo. And I'm still looking for
Are there
sponsors.
any? You're still looking. So no, that's okay. So here's what I'm gonna ask you. You know, what if you know what companies are you looking at, or you would be interested in entertaining sponsorships from? Because my goodness, if we can reach out to them for you and see if we can help that along, we sure would be happy to do so. So and I think a lot of times just at least, you know, putting it out into the universe and saying I would love to chat with X, Y, and Z. It certainly does nothing but good. So are there any companies that kind of have your eye that, you know, you like the way that they operate and you like the products that they are delivering to horses and that they meet your values and things and your standards? Are there any companies out there that you have your eyes on?
There are a few, but they are mostly small businesses because I love small businesses. Getting their name out, I find is really important because I know one day they can make it big, and a big business once was small, and I know one day that small business will become huge. So I love small businesses. I'm always looking for sponsorships, but I'm not actively going out there looking for them right now. Just between schooling and rodeo queening, it has been a lot. um,
Yeah,
but
I'm sure. Very full schedule.
yes, but I'm sure once I run for my next title, I will be out there looking for more sponsorships and saddle
So do you
sponsorships.
feel comfortable then mentioning do you feel comfortable mentioning a few small business names? I mean, this would be a great opportunity to, you know, start giving them a little bit of advertising and maybe at that point, you know, they might turn their heads at you and go, "Well, shoot, she helped us out. Maybe it's time for us to maybe help her a little bit."
Yeah, so there's Classy and Flashy Tailbags, which I think is an amazing name, and I find it such a cute name for just a tailbag company. Um, and then there's like different saddles and saddle companies like Sheridan or Corianti. Those ones are bigger businesses, but just having their support could really make a difference. And then there's Best Ever, which is another big company. But just to give an idea, those are companies that I've been looking at.
Oh, very nice. Well, let's see if we can we see if we can get some of this podcast out to them and hopefully they'll I don't know why they wouldn't be calling you right back.
Yeah.
For the little girls out there listening, aspiring to win their own rodeo titles, what advice do you have for them?
I like to always say trust your heart and trust your gut. But for the those are for more of the teenage girls, but for the little girls, always believe in what you think. Believe that you can do it. Believe that you can reach the tallest mountain. Have your imagination run wild and really aim for the highest achievement, whether it's gaining an award at school or being recognized for something. And having those little girls out there that want to be something big, I say do it because the world's wide and you're able to do anything.
Oh, I love hearing that. I think that we need so much more of that. Who is your role model?
Oh man, I have a lot of role models. um One of my role models, I would have to say, is my mother. I've watched her. I know this sounds funny, but I've watched my mom grow with me through my two titles and watched I watched her just adapt to now what her daughter was doing, and it was crazy the first year, but by my second title she knew what to do and she knew how to do it, and I couldn't be more happy.
What song best describes you and your horse, and why?
Um that is a very good question because my horse is a mare and her name is Honey. And when I tell you her name is Honey, she's not always as sweet as you would think she is. She has multiple different attitudes, which it is hard to keep up with. Sometimes one day she's happy to see me, and then one day she runs away from me. It is really a guessing game. I would definitely say Hot and Cold by Katy Perry is definitely fitting for her. And then one more besides Honey's personality is Home. And the reason why I picked that song is because every time I'm with my horse, it feels like home. Um, she really gives me a sense of purpose and something to live for because I feel like I'm always trying to better myself for her. Not only bettering myself for me, but bettering myself for her so we can go farther in the end.
Oh, that is so sweet to hear. I definitely feel the same way about my horses. They definitely make me feel at home when I'm with them. We're going to end today with our Whiskey Tango Foxtrot situational questions. Can you describe something either that happened to you or that you witnessed? Something that, was a little maybe embarrassing or just kind of made you shake your head like, oh my goodness, really? Maybe when you were out riding in a parade or at a rodeo somewhere. Do you have any story you'd like to share with us?
So I do. I actually do have one. And I was at Truckee Pro Rodeo with one of my Sash sisters, is what we call our fellow rodeo queens. And she had brought one of her horses to get the experience of the rodeo and just being in the rodeo aspect. Um and she had tied her to the trailer, and we were sitting in the back. The rodeo performance had started, and her horse had untied itself and made its way to the back of the arena and made it to the back of where we were all being staged to go into the arena. Her horse came walking by and she was like, I'll be back.
Wow, what a clever little pony. Well, is there any upcoming events that you'd like to share with us?
So, upcoming, we have our annual Penn Valley Rodeo, and it is coming up on May 16th through the 17th. It is a Friday and Saturday. We will have a parade Saturday morning introducing the new queens, because the new queen will be crowned Friday night and ride in Saturday's parade and Saturday's rodeo, which is very exciting. And if you would like to learn more about rodeo queens, we do have our Penn Valley Rodeo competition on May 3rd. If you would like to come out to that, you can get your tickets on the Penn Valley website or their Instagram handle or Facebook handle.
Well, thank you so much, Cheyenne, for joining us today and telling us your story. We sure appreciate you and everything that you do for our community, and we wish you the best of luck on all your future endeavors. As the sun sets on today's episode, we're reminded that 1. Nothing in life is perfect, that technical glitches happen in and out of the ring, but how you handle those is what's important. And secondly, a rodeo queen is so much more than a crown. She's a symbol of strength, tradition, and the courage to lead with her heart. A huge thank you to our incredible guest, Cheyenne Barker, for sharing her journey, passion, and for inspiring us with her story. Your dedication and your unwavering passion for the sport and the people who make it great while representing the Western way of life is inspiring. Whether she's in the arena or out in the community, she embodies the grit, grace, and spirit that make rodeo so special. To all our listeners, chase your dreams with that same fire. Ride through the challenges and always hold your head high, just like a queen. Until next time, stay bold, stay kind, and never stop riding for what you believe in. Keep your boots dusty and your dreams big. We'll see you all down the trail. Every horse comes with a story. The question is, what part of that story do you want to be? Now, this is where I say hit the subscribe button. And if you have any topics you want us to cover or respected professionals in your area you would like us to reach out to, email us at equisamare@gmail.com. EQUISAMARE @gmail. See you next time.